Hi, everybody. This is Chrissy with Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast. And I am here today just giving you a little bit of a catch up since I've been stuck in the snowstorm for the last almost week. Here in North Carolina, we've been getting hit with weather around the clock, and it has been insane. So, I've done a lot of just sitting around the house, catching up on news, movies, spending time with family, cleaning up. Um, just taking some me time. But I had to come back because I needed to have a conversation with everybody. So, first things first, I hope that you are staying safe, staying warm if you are in the path of the winter storm. This is different that the winter storm hit the south and not the north, but here it is. It's January, now February. What else can you do? On that note, I also want to say it is now Black History Month. And if you could educate yourself a little bit each and every day to learn the history of what it feels like to be Black in America, make sure that you find the items to read or visit a museum, or just look up a person on Google, search engine, anything, just to find out more about Black history in America and just Black history in the world. We only get 28 days, but I'm Black 365 days a year. As you can see, got my Black folks sweatshirt on, hoodie on, and you can purchase that at www.merch.com. That's right, you can purchase it on there. So, again, I just want to just say welcome to anybody that is coming in to listening to the podcast. And I know I take a little bit of a break in between doing shows, but it's because um, sometimes I have to think things through. So I know you all saw everything that happened in the news, and I really, really had to decide on whether or not I wanted to say anything about what has been going on, because you have to be very careful about how you project yourself on social media with the political climate that we're living in right now. You have to make decisions and choices that will affect not just you, but your family and your friends. So I shied away from saying a lot of things that I had on my mind. But, we do live in a country that is free speech, although it appears that it depends on what speech you're using. But as a up and coming podcaster, someone that's trying to grow, um, I have to think about how that's going to look for me if I'm going to be able to be free and to be able to say the things that are bothering me, because that's what this platform is for, right? I think a lot of people created podcasts because they wanted to feel free to express themselves. And after seeing what has happened to someone that has been in the industry for over 30 years, um, it kind of makes you wonder, what will that look like? Because the whole landscape of reporting news and having conversations and discussing things are no longer on your cable news stations. They're all on YouTube, or all on social media, or on TikTok. I mean, we sit around and we watch TikTok series, where you're waiting for the second part to drop, for hearing about what people are dealing with. So, and seeing everything that was going on this past week, with independent journalist Don Lemon, um, it was heartbreaking, because I don't know what that's going to lead to for people like myself that are here doing podcasts, trying to grow, trying to have conversations, real conversations with people that are experiencing real life, not just some of the made up things that we see in the news each and every day, that doesn't really reach the average American. So yeah, it was kind of difficult because I didn't know which way I wanted to go and come and talk about things. I didn't know if I was going to sit and continue to talk about the topic um, for this episode, which I am still going to talk about it. But I had to do what was right for me first, which is speak on what I've been seeing. And it's just so much, just it's just so much things that's going on right now. That's my spoon. I have to have my tea, guys. Um, that really, really shakes the spirit of what it feels like to have an open dialogue with people. It's like, almost, what can you talk about? Like, what's safe, I don't think when people created this YouTube and social media, other platforms where you can record yourself and put yourself on screen and have access to millions of people. I don't think they thought it would go this far. But now here it is. And people like myself, we use it to be able to reach people like you, to be able to have a conversation with like-minded people, and sometimes to help other people out. And if that's taken away from us, if our freedom of speech is taken away from us, how can we help others? How can you get the message out to for someone that needs mental therapy? Or right now, I'm dealing with gut health, something that people don't know about. Some people may not know how to find a person using your insurance to get someone in to help you with your gut health, which ultimately is your health. So it's platforms like this that allow people like myself to bring information to the masses. And if that's taken away from us because of freedom of speech rights being trampled and destroyed, then how can we grow as a society? How can we connect with one another? What is the point of giving us these devices, these applications, if we can't communicate with one another unless it's on the rules and regulations given by our government? Which that should not be. We don't live in a country where the government is supposed to regulate every single thing that you do, but each and every day it's starting to feel like we do. And I don't know what that is going to look like for like my kid, and anybody else's children that are growing up right now. But I do know right now for myself, it it's puzzling, you know, because I want to continue to do this. This is not my livelihood as of right now. Maybe one day it could be, but it's something that I enjoy doing. And why should I feel fear in doing something that I enjoy because of something I possibly could say that could possibly offend others? Is people offend each other every single day on multiple things. Um, I find that we're living in a very, very sensitive time where a lot of things offend people, and you are constantly walking on eggshells on how to deal with one another. But I think that also has to do with the amount of stress that we deal with in the country that we live in. Um, we are known to have some of the worst health in the world. And a lot of that attributes to our mental health as well. Not many countries have to work as hard as we do. Uh, uh, some of our people work past the age of 65 and beyond just to continue living, just to continue to feed themselves or to get the health care that they need. I mean, we're a country that healthcare is almost it is unaffordable to most people. Um, and all those things contribute to our stressful lives. So being able to have a conversation with people allows us to de-stress in a way. So what I really wanted to bring today was an episode about what we were no longer tolerating in this season in our life. And I find that with that, you have to set boundaries for yourself and understand what those boundaries are going to look like. And, you know, I feel like right now, all of our boundaries are just being completely wiped out, whether it be in politics, in your everyday life, your jobs, your relationships, your families, your boundaries are just crumbling around you. And it's creating a space that's feeling unsafe for a lot of people. And I had a conversation with a guy friend of mine that's from another country, and we talked about mental health, right? And he was explaining to me how he didn't understand what American mental health really is because where he comes from, there is no depression, there is no issues, we're soft. And I explained to him that you don't have to deal with some of the things we deal with here in America. So to you, what may not look like a mental health issue is because you in your country you didn't have the same problems. And he had to agree. He actually had to agree with me on that. Um, and it's because of the way that we don't embrace or put forth our boundaries that allow us to be under high stress levels. We're constantly in a stage of people pleasing each and every day. And when I mean people pleasing, I mean it in different roles in our lives, whether it be being a single mom and trying to please your child because you're a single mom, or being in a relationship with someone um, where you're constantly adjusting your schedules just to please or be around that person when they're not also providing you with the same attention, or being in a friendship that feels like you have to agree with that person in order to maintain that friendship, or being at a job where you're not speaking up for yourself when you feel like the workload is too heavy. These are all parts of people pleasing. And when you do that, that creates a stress level that you don't even understand that you're building, and you're constantly putting on yourself, and it'll eventually weigh you down. So I want people to understand that you don't always have to be a people pleaser. You know, try pleasing yourself sometimes. And it's okay to do that. It's okay. And I often say that on this podcast, you know that. It's okay for self-care. And part of self-care is stop trying to please everybody. You cannot save the world. Okay? You can't control the world. You can try to maintain the world you live in, but you can't control the whole world. Um, and that just really, really weighs heavy on me. I find that even with myself growing up, a lot of times I would be the person that was a people pleaser, even in adulthood, even in some relationships. I made a lot of adjustments for other people to make them happy, and in the end, I was the only one that was truly unhappy. So that gains nothing, nothing. So work on setting boundaries, whereas if you don't agree with something, speak up. It's okay to speak up. If you don't feel like going to an event, speak up about it. I don't feel like doing that. You don't have to don't be a yes person. Don't be in the season of saying yes to every single thing. It's okay to say no sometimes. And I've said that before as well. And that has to do with the people pleasing. Because what I found too, I was doing some research earlier today, and I was looking at something, and I'm gonna move off my screen for a minute. I was looking for something to tell me about what emotional labor was, right? And what I found was that emotional labor, and I'll go ahead and share it with you guys in just a moment. So we're gonna go ahead and share because we do some research here. So yeah, so emotional labor. Here we go. It's stages and types of emotional labor: surface acting, deep acting, unpaid, invisible work. But we want to look at how, like, the mental health of it and relationships. When one person acts as an emotional thermostat, which is, when you're constantly trying to adjust yourself for others, that can cause a lot of stress. And it says here, set boundaries, clearly communicate limitations on emotional availability at work and at home and in relationships. Okay. Um, Again, that's just something that I'm sorry, I went to another screen, but that's just something that we don't do often. We're constantly trying to please others, and your emotional attachment to pleasing people is bad for your health. Like, seriously. I talk about health a lot. I do. And I am no specialist. I don't have any degrees in it or anything. But what I do know for sure is that health is wealth. And I know for myself that after 4 years of now changing how I live and how I eat, it's made a impact on my decision making. Um, and my health is vital to my survival, of course. And it's not just about what you eat. It's how you deal with others around you, it's how you perceive yourself, like how people perceive you when they meet you. What do they think about you? All of that mixes up together to present you as a person that they can kind of test out. Like, so when somebody sees how you deal with situations, they know where your limitations is. They know what your boundaries are. If they constantly see you bending and changing and accepting people um, for who they are, no matter how they treat you, then they know that you have no boundaries, and that's dangerous. It's very dangerous. That's just like now. I mean, again, I always tell you guys this is not a podcast about politics, but in politics, he's constantly testing the boundaries of the system. And the more boundaries and things that he breaks, the more he knows what is tolerated. And that is just like being in a relationship. I keep telling people this is nothing but a bad relationship. And we decided to take him back. We, as in the people that voted for him, I did not, but you decided to take him back again. And now he's testing your boundaries, which you will and will not accept in life, how you are willing to live. And he's not people pleasing, that's for sure. But he is applying some emotional labor there, and he's providing the bare minimum in a relationship. That's another part of it. Like, people that are showing you bare minimum of what they're willing to be in a relationship. Like, I'm with you, but I'm gonna only give you so much. What's the point? What is the point of being in a relationship that's only going to give you but so much, right? So, again, I just wanted to come on today to kind of just talk a little bit on things that I've been experiencing and seeing, and how to set some boundaries up, because we all need them right now. Even with how you consume podcasts, how you consume your news, set a boundary. You don't have to do this every single day. You don't have to listen to people like myself and every day. You know, um, you're not going to find all your answers on how to live your life listening or watching YouTube. It can help you with some things, but give it a break. Learn who you are a little bit on your own. Experience is the best teacher. I told my brother that, actually. He asked me some advice, and it's one of my brothers. I have a couple, like 3 or 4. Well, 4. um, he asked some advice on what to do with his life, and I told him, I think I've shown you and taught you everything I can teach you. Now you have to go out here and experience life for yourself, because that is ultimately your best teacher. You can be scared of everything out there, but you won't know what you're capable of until you experience it on your own. And that's the same thing even in relationships. You won't know what your boundaries are until you experience the relationships that push those boundaries. Um, Oftentimes we hear that there's nobody to date out here, there's nobody to meet out here. When really, have you gone out? What are the spaces that you're going into? How can you meet somebody if you continuously go into the same place that you meet nobody at? I follow a young lady online, who says that, like, stop looking for relationships in a mall. Go to some place that sparks your interest to meet somebody that has that same interest there. So that's like, if you enjoy art, go to an art show, go to a museum. You have to find people that are in that same mindset. Um, and that goes back to the bare minimum relationship. You only get what you put out. So if you want to meet somebody that has something going for themselves, go to some places that have those type of people in those circles. You're not going to meet them just off a whim. You're not going to meet them like the girl said. You can't meet your husband sitting on a couch. I can't meet. It's possible. I can't meet my husband doing a YouTube page. It's possible, but I seriously doubt it. You got to get out here and stop expecting these grand relationships when you are putting bare minimum into it. My therapist even told me that. She said to me, I think you're scared. And I said, scared? Yeah, because you're doing the bare minimum in relationships. And I thought about that, and she was right. The relationships that I've had are relationships that were comfortable. They were familiar. They were people that I knew, grew up with, um, had connections with. I probably only dated maybe 1 or 2 people that I did not know at all. So that was bare minimum relationship status right there. How can I expect to find somebody that thinks or looks at life the way I do if I continue to pick up the same people in the same places? Stop giving yourself bare minimum. And then another thing on boundaries, after you decide that you don't want to do bare minimum in relationships no more, the hustle of it all, and you don't reward yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can sit here all day long and talk to you guys and have a conversation, and I enjoy it. I do. And this is my hustle. But what's the reward in it? At what point do I stop doing this? At what point will it show me the benefit of why I'm doing this? I know why I do it. I do it because I enjoy having conversations. And I tell you guys all the time, I used to talk so much until I would talk my grandmother to sleep. Okay. Um, so talking is just it's just who I am. That's a part of who I am. That's the nature of the beast in me. But what is the reward in this? Some of the reward in me having these conversations is people don't know. I get inboxes all the time, asking for information, and I'm a person that I don't gatehold. I'm not a gatekeeper. I give information, and that's part of my hustle with the reward. I'm out here having a conversation. So if you have a question, you can inbox me. You can email me, and I will give you the information that you need. Um, and that's part of building this lifestyle of being able to accept being in your season. You know what I mean? Like we just talked about what we are no longer tolerating in this season. How do you understand how to be in your season? After you realize what you no longer want to tolerate, at what point do you realize what what your life is going to look like in your season? So now once I removed all the nonsense, what does my life look like? Where am I going to go with that? What is the what is the goal? I often when I'm dating, I ask guys, what's your goals? What's your dreams? Do you ask yourself that? And it's really, really weird. This is when I know, sometimes like maybe this relationship is not going to work. Most of the time they'll tell me they don't really have any. I have them. I constantly have goals for myself. So that tells me right there that I need to deal with somebody that can give me an answer because that's where my mindset is. So, once you realize what you no longer want to tolerate and you realize what season you want to be in, I guarantee you things will work out a lot better. I now know that, and I say it all the time, even if I don't become this big podcaster, this was a goal for me to continue something that I started and completed. That's just my motto. If you start it, you finish it. I raised my kid with the same thing. You start something, you complete it. Even if you don't want to do it forever, complete what you start. Um, and that creates some type of self-respect for you when you complete the things that you set out to do. And it helps build character, it helps build confidence. Instead of just walking away from things because they may not always go the way you want them. Life is not going to go the way you want it. Do you know that? Life is just not is not made up for it to go every direction that you want it to go in. You hear these grand stories, oh, I just kept doing everything that I wanted to do. But oftentimes when people tell these stories, they don't tell about all of the stuff that happens in between. I tell you guys all the time about my lack of consistency in podcasting. I don't stop it because it is my goal, but I do have a problem with consistency. And the consistency problem is because life happens. That's all to it. It's not because I don't want to be here. It's not because I'm not good at it. It's not because I don't have anything to talk to you about. It's because life happens and I have to deal with certain situations as they come because I can't fix everything. I can only take parts of it and try to work with it. So, again, I just wanted to come on and kind of talk to you guys about what you're no longer tolerating in this season, where you see yourself in your next season. How do you stop people pleasing? How do you deal with emotional labor and stop giving the bare minimum relationships a chance in your life? Like, completely just get rid of that and learn to hustle with the reward. And then understand that everything that you're seeing right now, there has to be an end to it. There is always light and dark. They cannot exist without each other. So even though this time that we're dealing with in politics is dark, you can find other ways to be a part of the whole thing. I know a lot of people are scared to go out here and protest. A lot of people are scared to come on podcasts and talk about things that they feel because of their freedom of speech. But there are other ways that you can get involved. You can get involved by making sure you vote. You can get involved by getting out there and knocking on people's doors and getting the message out to talk to people. They still knock on doors. I don't always open, but people still do knock on your door. Um, making sure people have the literature that they need to understand the truth that's out here. Um, it's just ways that you can do your protests in a way that you don't have to be scared to lose your life. And that's how I'm going to end tonight's show with prayers to the families that have lost people that they love because they wanted to stand up for things that they believed in. Nobody should lose their life for that, no matter what the rules are in any country. Um, while again, I am not a political podcaster, I am a human being that feels that people's rights should be protected. And when you live in a country that says the land that you are on is free land, then why are the people that live in it don't feel free? Think about that. Make sure you continue to like, share this channel, um, communicate with me, comment, and have more conversations. I will be back. I cannot say for sure if it's going to be in 2 days or in another 2 weeks, but I will continue to be here. With that, I hope you have your wine, wealth, and tea. Talk to you soon. Bye.